Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Dear all teachers and practitioners, now it's time for our weekend Dharma talk with the topic when we talk about Zen, we focus on practice in all circumstances. And then what we appreciate in our practice is the doubt. In order to have the doubt, we have to ask the questions. All the questions have the same effect, which is to help the practitioner to arrive at Hua To, or where no thoughts arise. So the topic we're talking about is to maintain the doubt everywhere, every time. And none of the circumstances around can stimulate us, because we apply the practice all the time. And in order to have the doubt all the time, the practitioner need to have a strong belief in the mind. Same thing, a person who is grateful, doesn't matter what circumstances they are in, they always remember to show gratitude and never let themselves immerse in the worldly joys, and or they don't even feel, they don't even show up as being tired of, all the worldly manner. They just go with the flow. However, most of us are easily affected by the surrounding environments. That means we haven't been able to maintain the practice consistently. And to believe in the mind is to also means to believe in the prajna wisdom, believe in the liberation. All of those words are saying about the same thing, but depending on the capacity of the practitioners, the Buddha can use different terms to help them. And because the sentient beings have multiple different sickness, that's why there are various methods within Buddhism. Only the doubts can bring us to the origin of the ignorance, and only the doubts can help us, end that ignorance, for us to be able to see our true nature. So the meaning of the topic today is to maintain the practice consistently. We are easily affected by the surrounding environments, but seasoned practitioners who have a strong experience in the practice, will be strong enough to contain their mind without letting themselves go into the wrong path. So that is the meaning of the topic today. But for us, whether we understand or not, or whether we have complete belief in the mind or not, but if we have the wish to liberate from birth and death, if we have the wish to move away from duality, then we will be able to help ourselves maintain the practice at all times. The practice is very easy, is to ask the question and raise the doubt. It's very easy as long as you don't go outward, you don't follow the outside circumstances. That means you now turn inward and follow the practice. If we are able to practice well, we can say that we are able to contemplate the prajna and be able to taste the true flavor of Buddhism. So, to sum up, it's very simple to maintain the doubt. We still fulfill all of our responsibilities at all times, but doesn't matter whether we gain or lose, it's good or bad. We don't get attached to those circumstances. We maintain our calmness towards all situation, also referred as the middle way, that we can practice to help us coming from the small, the middle vehicle to the ultimate vehicle, and if ultimately away from all duality. So that is the meaning of the topic today. Now, anybody have any questions about today's topic, or want to share your experience or ask questions? Any questions? Please bring it up. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha.
Dạ, Nam mô Bổn sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật.
Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Dear Master, all teachers and practitioners, in order to help you talk about, give a Dharma talk, it needs a lot of interdependent conditions. Just like the past few days when we were able to learn from you, Or just like you said about the topic today, like we maintain the practice at all times, doesn't matter what the situation is. So my question is, when we are affected by the emotion of happiness or sadness, and we start we start contemplating our emotions first and then return to the practice, or can we just start asking the questions right away? Could you verify, explain more? So what we are talking about here is we maintain the practice consistently. If we add another step to contemplate stuff around us, that is still turning outward. So we can use a comparison to a student, a young student. They young. They also want to play and are easily attracted to all of the attractions around him, right? But thanks to his parent and the rule from the parent, it helped him be in one place. Same thing for us as monastics. If we don't have the rules to help align us, then we might easily forget about the precepts. So when we talk about belief in the mind, we are talking about the will, the mental will, a strong perspective. So for the people who practice Buddhism, if we don't hold gratitude, then we are losing the foundation, and if we don't have the foundation, then it's very hard for us to grow, to achieve, to reach bigger achievement. Just like as a normal human being, filial piety is very important. If we are not filial to our parents, then we are losing the basic foundation. Only when we have those basic foundation, then we will be able to make the next step into liberation from birth and death. So when we talk about consistent practice, the topic today, it means that even if we are affected by the surrounding situation, we still will not move away from our practice. Just like a good student, doesn't matter what he need to do, he still never forget about his study, even if he have other responsibilities that he need to complete, he still makes sure to return to study after he finished them. For example, he might have to help his parent or his siblings, but he always remind himself of studying. So a good student, doesn't matter what the situation is, he's always remember about his study. Same thing for a practitioner. It doesn't matter what the influence of the situation, we still maintain our mind, or maintain the practice. So the Dharma teach us that the true sign is signless. All situations around us are just show up as different signs, but the true nature is signless. That's why the Buddha said our true nature is covered by the ignorance and attachment. That's why we were not able to fully utilize its function. But the wind of the doubt will help blow away all of those ignorance and attachment, so that our true nature will be able to show up completely. So but in order to truly believe in those teaching, we need to practice well, and vice versa. When we practice well, our belief will get strengthened, and when our belief gets stronger, it will also help improve our practice. So always ask the question, raise the doubt. You don't need to contemplate anything further. Our tendency is to always analyze, dissect things, but we really don't need to do that. Just like when we do offering, we just need to have the thought to offer, to do the offering. We don't need to analyze or contemplate when we do offering, because if we do that, we might feel, like regret. We might feel like, oh, I don't want to do that and stuff. So same thing for the practitioners, to always remember about, to practice. Other than that, we don't need to raise any other contemplation. Nam Muni Buddha, the master or practitioner. The Buddha said we normally follow the words to try to understand the principle, the theory, but then In the Diamond Sutra, the Buddha said, if anyone said the Buddha gave a Dharma talk, then it's not correct. So it looks like the Buddha gave the Dharma talk, but he also negate his teaching. Could you please explain more? Those are the skillful means offered by the Buddha. So anybody with the mind of the Mahayana will be able to practice and reach liberation. Just like there was a story, the Buddha went by a forest and hold a bunch of leaves, and then he asked whether the leaves he's holding is more or the leaf that he doesn't hold is more. And people said the leaves that he's holding is less, way less. And then the Buddha said, like same thing. The Dharma talk that I gave over the 49 years is just like the number of leaves that I hold in my hand. What I want you to be able to get is the leaves all around the world. So the teaching is not to help give more knowledge to people, but to help people practice. And that's why the Buddha said in the Dharma Sutra that anybody said the Buddha did give Dharma talk is to talk badly about the Buddha. So our practice is to move away from duality. If we think that there's still a Dharma for us to learn, it means that we are still thinking of subject and object and still run within duality. And that's why only the people with the seed of Mahayana will be able to understand those teachings. To the Buddha, all of the sayings, all of the words do not carry any true meaning. So that saying is to negate all of the principle of all of the religions in the world. So all other religions in the world have an ultimate principle, but the Buddha doesn't give any ultimate principle. And that's why the Buddha said there is no Dharma for the Buddha to teach. His true intention is he doesn't want people to increase more knowledge, but he wants people to practice to liberate from birth and death. But what we are trying to say here is to say that we don't get attached to the teachings. It doesn't mean that we negate all of the sayings or the teachings. Just like the sixth pager said, the words, the teachings is to help people let go of attachment. he wants the learner to get enlightened, not to get attached to his words. So these are just like medicine, these are fake medicine used to treat the fake disease of the of ordinary people. So on our practice, because we always follow the what we know, we always follow the illusionary thoughts. That's why we very easily just follow our karma. If we create good karma, we might be able to reincarnate in the three good realms. But we create bad karma, we might get reincarnate in the three bad realms. So these knowing are the wrong knowing. They are very limited. They are not complete. If we are able to get rid of the duality and the attachment, then our Buddha nature will show up. So that saying from the Buddha is the Dharma is to realize everything else is just skillful means. You understand? Yes, I do. Thank you. Miss Kaplan, please. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Dear teachers and all practitioners, every day you remind us to get rid of attachment. But I also hear you said some people who already realize their self-nature, they still carry their karmic habits. I'm too confused between attachment and karmic habits. Could you please explain more? We tend to discriminate different terms, discriminate the karmic habits, and then we are scared of delusionary thoughts, karmic habits. That's why we keep coming up with a bunch of different tactics. But the patriarch said, "Don't be scared. Don't feel scared of karmic habits. We need to focus on the root cause here. Just like when a tree grows too many leaves, if we just focus on tackling the leaves, try to cut the leaves, then we won't be able to get to the root cause. But if just like that, if we cut all the leaves, and thinking that we already get rid of all of the root cause, that's not true. When the rain comes, the tree will grow even more leaves. Same thing if we try to suppress our karmic habits, if we are scared of the karmic habits and like come up with different tactics to suppress them, then it might backfire. That's why the patriarch always encourage us to just focus on the practice. And that's why, like the patriarch said, even for the people who reach, who are able to see their self nature, they still have to spend some time to protect themselves from because they still carry some of the karmic habits.
Có khi chỉ là cư sĩ bình thường thôi mà cũng không coi ai ra gì hết, kêu là coi trời bằng vung á, nghĩa là bình đẳng. Cho nên cái ngã của họ to bằng trời luôn, như Đề Thiên Đại Thánh vậy đó.
There's some practitioners, they very easily fall into the trap of arrogance. Or even some monastic, they keep attached to those words saying, "Oh, we shouldn't discriminate between the beginners versus the seasoned practitioners," and they end up not following any rules within the temple, and they can go on the wrong path. No, so if we truly practice the teaching of the Buddha, just focus on the practice. Don't try to analyze or guess. Some people keep thinking about those karmic habits, worry about those karmic habits, and they think, oh, they need to do something else, like do repentance, or they need to pray to the Buddha, and not truly focus on one practice. That's why if some people, if they just get so attached to the words, they will misunderstand the Buddha's true intention. However, if they completely ignore the teachings, they will also go on to the wrong path. So we have to be very clever in how to utilize our mind. Yes, I understand your teaching. I listen to you, and I try not to pay attention to those. In the past, I also care a lot about our karmic habits, but then I remind myself, try not to pay attention to those anymore and just return to the practice. Even though I is confused a little bit between those terms, but I still put the practice on top. Thank you, Master. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha, the master or teachers and practitioners, you used to teach the Dharma. Our mind tie up itself. Could you please explain this teaching again? So when we talk about the mind tie itself up, we also referring to our attachment. But if we have strong belief in our mind and practice, we will be able to untie all of their traps. When we say about attachment or ignorance, we're saying about us tying up it ourselves. Just like the Buddha said, there originally was nothing, but because we create those attachments, that's why we create our own suffering. Or we can say in an easy example, when our parents give birth to us and give us a name. You know, we don't know anything yet. But when we grow up and have a little bit of understanding, then we attach ourselves to the name. If anyone, you know, like compliments on us under this name, we will be happy. If anyone, you know, say bad things about us under this name, we feel angry. So the more we grow up, that ego also grow bigger.
Rồi bắt đầu nó gắn kết, đó là của ta, cái tri kiến của ta, cái biết của ta, rồi đó mình làm ăn nên.
And then we started accumulate a lot of knowledge and attach to the knowledge, accumulate assets, attach to the assets, build up family, attached to our spouse, our kids, you know, and anything that we create, we attach to those. That's why we call the mind tie up itself. We create our ties ourselves. Just like the Buddha when he was a prince, right? He has a lot of ties with his family, a lot of responsibilities, but because his wish to liberate from birth and death is too strong, that's why he are able to overcome all of those ties, able to let go all of those, to seek out the way. If you think about it in a worldly matter, the person who loves their country, they might also be able to sacrifice his family for his country. Or when we talk about the bodhisattva, you know, if they can sacrifice themselves to help other people. So a lot of us feel like those possessions are ours. We think that those things belong to us. We need to protect those. And we are attached to those. That's why we forget about our strong will to liberate from birth and death. And we keep getting trapped into those. But we should know that all of those things are just a dream. And that's why people said when we were born, we have nothing. When we die, we also die with nothing. All of the knowledge or all of the possessions that we have, everything will be gone. So we don't even need to wait until we die. You know, even when we get old, all of those possessions start getting out of our control. Or even, you know, like our family may not be what we want. Our kids may not be what we want. Everything are just by karma. And but we were not able to see the true nature of those. We cannot accept the karmic energy. We keep reacting to all of the consequences. You know. So any of our own thoughts based on what we want, we are actually tying up ourselves, you know. But once we get enlightened, just like the Buddha, we won't have any discrimination. We will have love for everyone. We have respect for everyone. Just like the Badatta always wanted to harm the Buddha, but he didn't feel angry toward the Badatta. Instead, he appreciated his contribution to his achievement of the Bodhisattvahood. He also give prediction for Devadatta to become a Buddha in the future. So that's why the Buddha didn't get trapped, or didn't trap himself, but instead for us, we are very influenced by, easily influenced by how people comment on us. And we very easily mistaken and attached to the things we shouldn't be attached. That's what it means by the mind tie itself up, and only Buddhism can help us untie those traps. But it doesn't mean that we don't fulfill our responsibilities. We still fulfill all of our responsibilities, but still maintain our practice so that we don't get confined to our attachment and ignorance. The time is up. Goodbye, everyone. Shakyamuni Buddha.